I moved to Cedar Hollow Lake for one thing quiet. After 20 years fixing engines in the Navy and another 10 teaching kids how to calculate velocity in a classroom, I was done with noise, done with chaos. My little slice of paradise was a beat-up cabin on the water's edge, nothing fancy. Just a creaky porch, a couple of bedrooms, and the crown jewel of private docks stretching out over the lake, built long before I got there, sturdy as hell, my personal haven where I'd sit with my mutt Rusty, sip coffee, and watch the sunrise turn the water to gold. That dock was where I'd fish with my grandson, Nate, or just lie back in an old lawn chair, listening to the wood groan under my weight, feeling like the world finally made sense. For years, nobody messed with me. Neighbors were a good distance away. And the HOA? They were too busy nitpicking about lawn ornaments or Christmas lights left up past New Year's to care about my little lakeside retreat. That is, until Marla Jenkins rolled into town. Marla was the kind of woman who walked like she owned the air around her short bob haircut, always clutching a tablet like it was a scepter, and a smile that felt like it was sizing you up for a coffin. Within weeks of moving in 3 houses down, she'd strong-armed her way into HOA president. Nobody ran against her, probably because nobody wanted a headache. I didn't vote me bad, I'll own that. At first, she stuck to petty stuff, sending out letters about community standards, fining people for leaving their trash cans out an extra day. I figured, live and let live, right? My cabin sat just outside their cookie-cutter cul-de-sacs, and my deed was ironclad full lake access, dock included, checked and double-checked when I bought the place. But then, one chilly March morning, I noticed a black SUV idling at the end of my gravel drive. Rusty gave a half-hearted woof, then flopped back down, but something about it put me on edge. The SUV lingered maybe 5 minutes before peeling off, but I swear I felt eyes on me, out there on my dock, sipping my coffee. A few days later, a letter showed up fancy HOA letterhead, claiming my dock was encroaching on community shoreline, and I needed to apply for usage approval or face fines. For dock older than their whole damn neighborhood. I crumpled it up, tossed it in the trash, figured that'd be the end of it. But Marla? She was just getting started. She'd stroll by the lake with her yappy little dog, snapping photos of my dock from every angle, once even standing on the far bank, staring for a solid 20 minutes like she was plotting a siege. I'd be out there sanding a rail, headphones on, pretending I didn't notice, but I saw her, and I made sure she saw me seeing her. Then the emails started polite at first. All, "Dear Mr. Lawson, we value your cooperation in maintaining shoreline compliance." But each one got pushier, calling my dock an unauthorized structure in shared space. Shared space, my ass. I pulled out my Survey Me lot stretched 10 feet past the dock into the shallows, grandfathered in from '79, clean as a whistle. Marla wasn't after facts, though she wanted control. One day, I'm trimming my hedges when I spot her, not just near my dock, but on it. She'd hopped the lock gate at the edge of my yard and asked me how, probably reached over and unlatched it like she owned the place. I yelled down, "Hey, that's private property." She spun around, flashing that fake smile, waving like we're old pals. "Just documenting for shoreline compliance, Mr. Lawson." She chirped like that made it okay. "Get off my dock," I said calm but hard. She smirked, said, "I'm authorized by the board," and kept snapping pictures. "One more step, Marla, and it's trespassing." She froze, gave me a long look, then sauntered off, but not before snapping one last photo probably of me, maybe even Rusty. That night, I called my buddy Tom, a lawyer who'd dealt with HOA nonsense before, in the county recorder's office. "Time to lock this down." I dug out every document I had, deed, surveys, photos of the dock from '95, even a letter from the old owner about its upkeep. I scanned it all, made copies, backed it up on a drive. Marla thought she was dealing with some cranky old retiree who'd roll over. She didn't know I'd spent years navigating red tape in the Navy, that I'd faced down worse than her clipboard and her power trip. For a week, things went quiet, like the calm before a storm hits. I kept busy, repainting the dock's railing, checking bolts, measuring the waterline after a rain. Then one morning, I walk out with my coffee, and there she is again, Marla, bold as brass, standing at the end of my dock, filming like she's Spielberg. Her heels clicked on the planks, her blouse flapping in the breeze, and she's narrating something about non-compliant structures. Rusty growled, low and steady, as I marched down the lawn. "Marla," I said, voice like steel, "you're trespassing." She barely glanced at me. "Just documenting for the HOA's shoreline review, Mr. Lawson. There've been complaints." "From who, you?" I shot back. She turned, holding her phone like a shield. "I'm following protocol." "No, you're escalating," I said, pulling out my own phone and snapping a picture of her standing there, uninvited, on my property. Her face twitched, just for a second, like I'd landed a punch she didn't see coming. Without another word, she stepped off the dock and hustled back to her SUV, parked half on my grass like she was marking territory. I filed a trespassing report with the sheriff that night, included the time-stamped photo. Didn't expect much, but I want it on record. Then the HOA upped the ante 3 letters in one day. One fined me $500 for an unregistered structure. Another banned me from using my own dock, pending an environmental review with no end date. And the third, a bill for $200 in cumulative fines. I sat there, staring at the papers, and laughed not because it was funny, but because it was so damn audacious. Marla didn't know I'd helped write the county's shoreline rules when I consulted for them after retiring. My dock was exempt, always had been. She thought I'd cave, but she was playing chess with a guy who'd been through worse battles. I met with Tom, spread my documents across his table surveys, permits, the works. He grinned, said, "She's got nothing, but she's betting you'll blink first." We drafted a cease and desist letter, sent it to Marla personally, certified mail. 2 days later, she fired back through some made-up Lakeside Preservation Committee she'd crowned herself head of, claiming my dock posed erosion risks. I installed a motion sensor camera the next morning, pointed right at the dock. Sure enough, a week later, 6:15 a.m., my phone pings Marla's back, clipboard in hand, strutting down my dock like it's a runway. She even taped a sign to a post, pending review. "Do not use HOA property." I ripped it down, yelled, "What the hell is this?" She didn't even turn, just called back, "You'll hear from us soon," and sped off in her SUV. That was the line game on. I didn't just sit there. I printed 24 packet surveys, deeds, my lawyer's letter in, went door to door. Neighbors were shocked. Most didn't even know about the dispute. One couple thought Marla's flyers about unsafe structures were about pond scum. People started talking, sharing their own Marla Stories finds for a kid's swing set, a flagpole called Too Tall. It was like the neighborhood woke up. Then the county stepped in. 2 guys showed up, checked my survey pins, and handed me a stamped letter. My dock was 100% mine, for feet inside the legal buffer. I sent copies to every neighbor in the HOA. Marla doubled down, though sent out a bulletin calling me a disruptive resident. So I called the local news. A reporter named Jake came out, filmed the dock, interviewed neighbors. The story aired, short and sweet, but it hit like a sledgehammer. One HOA board member quit the next day. Then came the morning that changed everything. I'm out on the dock, tightening a bolt, when I hear gravel crunch. Marla's SUV rolls right down my driveway, stops inches from the dock, engine humming. She steps out, phone up, filming again, muttering about violations. I notice her car's brake lights are on, but something's off. No gear shift, no parking brake. "Marla," I yell, "your car." She ignores me, keeps filming. Then at Mavisa slow, Heavy roll forward, tires hitting the dock's planks. She spins around, face pale, and sprints to the door. Locked. She fumbles with her keys, screaming, "No, no, no," as the SUV creeps forward, nose dipping into the lake with a sickening splash. Water surges, papers float out. Her clipboard sinks like a stone. I grab Rusty's collar, step back, and call 911 calm as I can. Yeah, a car just rolled into the lake off my dock. Driver's fine, but it's sinking. Marla's knee-deep in water, mascara running, yelling, "This is your fault. This dock shouldn't be here." I just said, "The dock's not sinking, Marla." The sheriff showed up, then a tow crew, then half the neighborhood, phones out, whispering. My camera caught it all, her leaving the car in neutral, the roll, the splash. The deputy watched the footage, nodded, said, "This helps." They hauled her SUV out, dripping and covered in muck, while Marla sat wrapped in a blanket, muttering about unsafe structures. The HOA sent a weak email about a vehicle malfunction, but nobody bought it. Neighbors started texting me, dropping off pies, even a sign from Nate that said, "Papa's Dock Rocks," in blue crayon. Marla tried one last swing. Her lawyer sent a letter claiming I owed $14,000 for her car, saying my dock was a hazard. I laughed, sent it to Tom. We filed a counterclaim, harassment, defamation, the works, backed by videos, photos, everything. In court, I laid it out plain. The dock's mine, always was, and Marla's crusade was about power, not rules. The judge didn't blink. "Clear pattern of harassment," she said, awarding me $8,000. Marla didn't even look at me as she left. The county cited the HOA for overreach, forced a bylaw rewrite. Marla quit, sold her house, vanished overnight. Neighbors started reclaiming their lives, flags went up, swings got built, shutters turned bright red. I fixed up an old bench, bolted it to the end of the dock, carved the date under it, October 25th, not for winning, but for enduring. People started coming by, not to gawk, but to sit, talk, share a beer. The dock wasn't just mine, Anna Marie, it was ours, a place where we remembered we could stand up. One night, Nate ran down, hugged me, said, "Papa, you saved the dock." I lifted him up, said, "It never broke, kid, it just got loud for a bit." As we fished, I saw neighbors waving across the lake, no longer scared, no longer quiet. Someone left a note on the dock. "Thanks for standing up. You saved more than your home." I kept it pinned above my workbench. So what do you think? Was I just a stubborn old man, or was this about something bigger? Have you ever had to push back against someone like Marla? Someone who thought they could run your life? Drop a comment. Share your story. I am all ears. And if you like this tale, hit that subscribe button. There's plenty more where this came from.